Ah, what's up, guys? AWO here, Air Warrior, man. What's up? Hope you're all good. Hope you're all good on this beautiful Saturday, no, Wednesday, February, what, 18th and 19th? I don't know. I forget the time, the date. Okay, wait. It's the 19th. Wait. No, let's see. 16th is a Sunday, 17th is a Monday, 18th is a okay, 19th. Okay, it's the 20th. Is it the 20th? No, it's the 19th because, okay, Friday is the 21st. All right. I'm sorry about that, man. I'm sorry. I was just trying to brain cramp on the date. What's up, guys? I hope you're all good, man. Hope you're all good. Come join me for this stream. It's going to be a stream that is going to go.
Sorry about that, man.
It's going to go over season one of your Friday Neighborhood Spider-Man. The final two episodes were dropped today. Okay. Final two episodes are dropped today. And so we're going to talk about the series. We're going to review the series. I'm going to review the series. There will be spoilers involved. So if you haven't seen the show and you don't want to be spoiled, I suggest don't watch this stream. If you don't care about spoilers and you still plan to watch it, watch the stream. And if you've seen the show already, then well, jump in the conversation. Okay? What's up, Mr. Order? Yeah, I am Order. Just preparing to talk about this show. This great show that I feel like Marvel didn't give a damn about, despite being a really, really good show, a really good animated show. For some reason, I felt like they didn't have faith in the show for some reason, and I don't know why. Because this show deserves better from Marvel Studios. I'll say this: the way they promote X-Men '97 compared to this is really night and day. And that's what's disappointing because this show is really, really good. Really, really good. Great show. Great show. You got introduction to a bunch of characters, not just Spider-Man characters, but other characters are not Spider-Man related that are involved in the Marvel universe. So, other characters. Yeah, I was gonna say this. I like this Spider-Man, this Peter Parker, better than Tom Holland. Tom Holland Spider-Man. I don't know. I just find this one more likable. More likable. I did like this one. It just seems fits Peter Parker's personality and looks better than Tom Holland and his character too. Like, yes, he's in high school, like the Tom Holland one was, but he had the glasses and he didn't feel like totally fully awkward. Uh, this one, this Peter Parker, and it's animation, and it's just this felt more like, how can I say it? closer to Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, I would say, because Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, while awkward, he just was too good looking. I say this is closer to Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Okay, closer to that. And if you want to debate me on that, go ahead. I don't care. But that's how I feel. I feel like this is closer to Tobey Maguire's and I like it better than Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Peter Parker slash Spider-Man. It did. It did. They needed a big name, right? So they obviously got the biggest name in the MCU, Robert Downey Jr. It's obviously reason why is they didn't use Norman Osborn until later on. Technically not from 616, but then you got like also in this, you got some other characters like no Mary Jane and no Gwen Stacy. All right, and that might be in the future later on. He does have somebody as not really a love interest, but somebody as a crush on. Somebody named a woman named Pearl, who's older, but he has a crush on her. Pearl. We'll get to that. But there's no Mary Jane and Gwen Stacy. No high school sweetheart. Still kind of young. I feel like he's a freshman in the high school, freshman or sophomore or year, whatever. No high school sweetheart. Okay. His best friend, right away. Well, his best friend he makes in the very first episode is not what you would think. It's not Harry Osborn or anybody else. It's Nimu Murniru or Nina Murniru. If you don't know who that is, well, you gotta know who that is. That's she dazzles in the dark arts. She dazzles. She's a witch basically, not like the Scarlet Witch or the witches from uh, not 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 that kind of witchcraft, not like the Agatha kind of witch stuff. But she is a witch. You'll see her with a specific wand later on. But she's, if you know Marvel, you know that character dazzles into dark dark art magic. Yeah, it's definitely green light. I pretty much see this getting green light. Hey, blinded. Also, we got Lonnie. Lonnie, I forget his name, Leachin. So high school football star. It'll probably get if it's good. It'll probably get green light more. We know what the future of this kid. He's on his way to be he's a standout of his family because his family is not that rich or not that wealthy, and they live in Harlem. Harlem's not exactly the best neighborhood, but this is the kid that's gonna bring the parents out of poverty or stuff like that. But his future turns dark, bleak, right? Because of a gang stuff, he gets involved. We know he's the future Tombstone. Well, he gets that name. Okay, we know he gets the name Tombstone later on in the show, and he doesn't turn albino. He's not albino. He's not albino white. Okay, but but we'll talk about him later on. Uh, Mary Jane, no, not Mary Jane. Aunt May is young with red hair, young, very young. You get Harry Osborn and Norman Osborn. Norman Osborn is voiced by Colin Domingo, still head of Oscorp, and you can tell this right away. Like you can't trust who he really is. You can't trust him. Get him. He's really good. The voice actor Colin Domingo is a very good actor, but he plays. I'm really convinced as Norman Osborn. We get a son also who befriends Peter. Well, actually, yeah. Well, Spider-Man saves him, but he finds out Spider-Man is Peter, but they become friends later on, right? We find out other Marvel characters, like in the beginning, there's Doctor Strange, and we'll get back to Doctor Strange because he does make an appearance at the end again. Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange actually has like a big role in this show at the beginning and the end. Like he's not a cameo like Iron Man was. Cameo, cameo. Who's cameo? Like Iron Man was a cameo. Okay, Iron Man was a cameo for like 2 minutes, but Doctor Strange really wasn't. Daredevil, I wouldn't say. I think Daredevil was in it. He lasted longer than a cameo. He made a couple more. Well, actually made two appearances. One a longer ass scene, and in the future, at the end, he also makes an appearance. We also get Emmaus Cho, also Daredevil's sidekick, Jean, who goes undercover at Oscorp. We get what's his name? What's the character's name that Blind told me a couple weeks ago? Whirlwind. The doctor becomes Whirlwind. We also get Lizard. Well, we don't really get the Lizard, but we get the person who becomes a Lizard. And I know people are having. I know there's people on certain issues are having. Oh, the Lizard's a female and black. Yeah, they did a gender band and race swap Kurt Connors. Like they just gender banned, not gender, but they base banned the Osborns. That's true. But to me, they make a difference. We got introduction to person who eventually becomes a Rhino, but he's not the Rhino yet. Okay. Doctor Octopus. Doctor Octopus. Okay. We also got Scorpion, Matt Gargan, who leads the gang. This gang is called the Scorpions, and they're facing off with the gang. Lana Leeson eventually joins. Yeah, Kingpin wasn't in it for some odd reason. Okay. And I don't know what blind is. Did I send you an invite blinded? Yeah, I did send you an invite blinded. What are you doing, man? Get your butt on here. All right. Um, introduction to the symbiotes, kind of. Kind of. We got introduction to the symbiotes. Okay. The symbiotes who become Venom. No villains were introduced. We didn't get excuse me. We didn't get Mysterio. Mysterio wasn't introduced. Vulture not introduced. Yeah, like remember they're getting more seasons. So we don't have to introduce other villains yet. Mysterio, Vulture, Shocker, Electro. Not yet. It's too early, right? It's too early for that. I mean, like, come on, we got a second season, so you get more time to introduce. Like I said, we got Doctor Octopus, Tombstone, Rhino. Well, the person who eventually becomes Rhino, Scorpion. Okay. Eventually, right? And I do like the story of Peter here. Peter, how well they're not happy with the show because it's good. They should be excited. They got Spider-Man Noir. Let's see how it was. They should be. Maybe they're not happy. Maybe the Spider-Man Noir will turn out to be good. All right. Uh, so we're not gonna go each episode one by one, and we're not gonna do that. Okay, there's like 8 or 9 episodes. I'm not gonna do one by one. We're just gonna talk about overall the season. Okay. All right. So with the way Peter becomes Spider-Man, it's not in a lab. It's not in a lab. Well, actually, I'm wrong on that. It is in the lab. if you've seen the first episode and you haven't seen the last episode, and you don't care about spoilers, my explanation will tell you why that spider that bit him in the first episode actually did come from a lab. Okay? 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 See, what happened is, if you've seen the first episode, Doctor Strange is fighting that symbiote life form, right? Then you see a spider hanging and it falls and it climbs up Peter, bites him, right? And Peter faints, gets him his powers. Well, obviously in other incarnations of Peter getting bit by a spider, we see him in a lab or on a tour in the lab at Oscorp or whatever gets bit by a spider, right? Well, in this, it's actually the same thing. What you didn't see in the first episode, you actually see in the last episode. Okay? The last episode explains the spider more. Okay? Time travel is involved, okay, in this show. Because in the last episode, Norman finally reveals his ultimate plan, his goal was to try to open up like a pathway to other worlds, other universes. And when he told them he was warned not to do that by Doctor Strange. Like Doctor Strange knew something was up, and he teleported to warn Norman Osborn not to do this, not to do this, not to open up a portal to another world, to another universe, whatever reality, whatever. Does it anyway, and then the symbiote, that symbiote you see in the first episode comes out, and Doctor Strange starts fighting it. And the Doctor Strange uses a magic ability that actually goes back in time to the point where in the first episode, Peter is encountering that symbiote. He goes actually back in time. It's weird. It's weird as hell. It's weird as hell. And that spider you see in the first episode, actually that was brought into a bunch of other reptiles and animals into Oscorp to be tested on as for subjects. That Spider-Man, that spider, accidentally his cage got knocked. The cage got knocked, and the spider was free. And he in that portal where Doctor Strange took the symbiote back into time. Accidentally, the Spider-Man threw that portal, the exact same portal too, and that landed back in New York, in front of Midtown High School. Okay, and that's how Peter got bit. That spider was actually not just some, because of course a spider biting a human does not give him powers in real life, or even in a fantasy show like Spider-Man, right? There has to be something with that spider. It has to be tested on, right? That spider has to be tested on in order for that spider to transfer spider like. I want to say spider like powers because what the spider has is not powers. It's not powers. It's what the spider is born with, right? It's just the hands. It's just be able to transfer what the spider has to Peter. Okay. So Doctor Strange has a very big role in the first episode and the last episode. Because Osborn screwed up, right, with the portal opening, and a bunch of symbiotes are trying to come in. Peter and Doctor Strange manages to successfully shut the portal down, right? They managed to make sure they don't come in. But unfortunately, a little piece of the symbiote life form, managed to make it through. And in the aftermath of the destruction of in the aftermath of the destruction of where that battle took place, see Osborn come in, and he sees that little piece of symbiote, black symbiote, on the floor, and you know what that means, right? Obviously, you know what that means. Like that's at the end of the episode, one of the end of episodes. One of the endings, well, not one of the endings. It's part of the ending of the season finale. I was about to say series finale, and you know what that means? Venom. That means Venom, right? Right. That means Venom's coming, and it's going to be very similar. My guess to like Spider-Man 2, because Spider-Man 2, the symbiote was in Oscorp, and the symbiote's going to be in Oscorp after being discovered, right, by a different universe, right? Or a different world. It is a universe. It could be a different world. Okay. So yeah. So the symbiote, piece of symbiote managed to get through. Well, they locked it up. Peter and Doctor Strange, right? Spider Man, and so we're gonna get Venom. We're gonna get Venom. Okay. which is which which I'm excited for, guys. I'm excited to see the. Yeah, he did. He kept the glasses on. Man, whatever. Okay, fine, fine. It's fine. So he didn't get the spider, right? So we're getting Venom. Okay. We got Otto Octavius. All right. Also, we're starting to see signs of the beginnings of the Green Goblin. Not there yet. It's slowly building the Green Goblin up. Norman Osborn. And what I mean by that, what the Green Goblin uses, right? What he uses. The glider. Specifically the glider. Oh, yeah, they might introduce yeah, good point. Good point, man. Flash. So they start slowly build up the Green Goblin, right? Slowly slowly build up the Green Goblin. They show the gliders. There's some things that Green Goblin. We're gonna get Green Goblin. I think Green Goblin will probably. I think Norman will don the Green Goblin persona in the next season. I think he'll become Green Goblin. We're starting to see the bits and pieces of the Green Goblin coming. Okay, he's not like Norman. Norman is arrogant, cocky, right? Suspicious, something to hide. But when it becomes, but he doesn't have that breakdown. He doesn't have that personality about when, as the Green Goblin, yeah, as a breakdown, stuff like that. That nervous breakdown, that laughter, that like stuff like that. That's gonna come in probably in season two. Probably, right? We're gonna get the Green Goblin. I think it's season two. We're starting to see it. Okay. Okay, we're gonna start seeing the Green Goblin for I pull time for ladder, stuff like that. Okay, we're gonna get the Green Goblin. Okay. Doctor Octopus. So Doctor Octopus has been giving tech for money to all these other criminals. All these other criminals, right? Some low life criminals like this Firefly whip off villain in the first or second episode. The Bonnie and Clyde villains, the Bonnie and Clyde villains. And then he gave a helmet to a bodybuilder woman that shoots lasers out of a car, and she's called the Unicorn because it looks like a fucking unicorn, and she's part of a team of thieves, right? And and that team of thieves, they're Russian too, so make the connection Russian also, right? But team of thieves also has Alexei, and now I'm not gonna butcher his last. I'm not gonna say Alexei's last name, but Alexei is the first name of the guy who eventually becomes a Rhino. Okay, so we got the guy. We introduced the guy who eventually becomes a Rhino. He's not Rhino yet, but he eventually becomes a Rhino. Okay, I'm not gonna butcher. I'm not gonna say his last name because I'm gonna butcher it. I'm gonna butcher his last name. Sorry, like I'm not gonna. Right. Also, another side story. Lonnie, who, you know, decides to confront the the gang that looks over Harlem. I forget the name of the leader. Okay, the reason he does that is because his brother, he said his brother joined. Right, Peter didn't want his brother to join the gang, but obviously the leader would not. I'm not talking about the villain leader of the gang. I forget his name. Just remind me of his name and I'll say it. Um, his the leader would not let his brother go without something in return. So Lonnie puts himself, replaces his brother, puts himself in debt. Lonnie could do more, right? Lonnie could do more than his brother because his brother's still a kid, a young kid. And Lonnie puts himself in debt for, right? So everything. Lonnie is dating this high school woman named Pearl, who Peter has a crush on, but it's older too, and she apparently babysat Peter. But it's funny though. The funny thing is, they're kind of the same classes. I don't feel like Pearl is a trouble student. Like she's not good in school or anything. I feel like I don't get the sense for him. So I'm kind of surprised that they're in the same science class. I don't know. You know, whatever. That's not the point. So Lonnie, right, joins that gang, right, and it causes problems for his personal life. He has to leave the high school team. Fortunately, has him and Pearl break up, heartfelt breakup. Pearl was crying. But that gang he joined was in a turf war with another gang called the Scorpions. And the Scorpions always had a tattoo of a scorpion right under arm. Well, the Scorpions are led by Matt Gargan, who we all famously know is a scorpion, right? First is a scorpion, right? Matt Gargan is a scorpion. He gets a scorpion-like tech suit from Dr. Octopus. Now, Dr. Octopus is hiding out in a unnamed warehouse with a bunch of technology he's selling for money to other villains for money, trying to build his lab, shit like that, trying for his genius plans, right? Okay. So yeah, Scorpion has that. Finally gets a Scorpion-like costume from Scorpion-like metal costume from Doc Ock, and he has the tail and everything is green, right? Well, the way Doc Ock was eventually discovered, Peter, who was being mentored by Norman Osborn. Norman Osborn figures out that Peter is Spider-Man, and Norman takes him under his wing, gives him missions and stuff, right? Gives him missions, updates, briefings, and all that. And Peter is the one to discover this very same symbol on all these weapons that some of the criminals have, and they all lead to Doc Ock, who once worked at Oscorp, once worked with Norman Osborn. They have a grudge with each other. They have a grudge, right? Doctor Octopus has a grudge against Norman Osborn, kind of like the Spider-Man games. The Spider-Man games is perfectly. The Spider-Man games, Doctor Octopus and Norman Osborn do not like each other. They have a hatred for each other, and in the first Spider-Man game, Doctor Octopus was trying to make sure Norman Osborn was killed or whatever, trying to murder Norman Osborn, all of that, right? Because he blames Norman Osborn for a lot of things. Similar here, they do not like each other, but Norman Osborn finds out the location and he got to call the cops. Thunderbolt Wasp, yeah, he was in it. Thunderbolt Wasp is in it. Iron Man, and they managed to arrest Doc Ock. But before that happened, the SWAT team came in, and obviously Doc Ock was prepared, right? Was prepared. He had contingency plans and all this. He was prepared. So we started to see him put on the security system, and we started to see tentacles, right? Tentacles tentacles, not wrapped to him. He still had the suit. He didn't have the tentacles on his back at the times, but we did get to see tentacles picking up some of the SWAT police officers. So that's a little bit of a preview of what's to come because we know in the last episode, we've seen it, in his jail cell, we see papers that he's put up against the wall with tentacles on it. So it's obviously that's alluding to he'll eventually become Arnold Octavius, will eventually become Doctor Octopus, and he'll break out of the cell. He's planning something. He'll break out of the cell, and when he becomes Doctor Octopus, he'll have the 4 tentacles to his back, and be able to control them. Right, the classic Doc Ock. And I don't know where Blinded is. Blinded may not be around. I don't know. Blinded may be busy. Okay. Let's continue, guys. Let's continue. The Sibis storyline is going to be part of Agent Edition Season 2, at least beginning of it. Part of it. Alright? Also, and if the Soviet Accords are the Soviet Accords from Civil War are actually in this show. And some of the events from the MCU actually are mentioned in this show. Norman Osborn does mention from the 2012 Avengers that happened. Alright? Oh, Reb in the show, yeah. They do mention, Norman Osborn doesn't mention the 2012 Avengers movie, the Battle of New York. He also mentions something else. Like some of the stuff that happened in MCU happened in this universe, in this animation world. Okay, too. He mentions that. He mentions the Soviet Accords. What else does he mention? He does mention something else, and he is not a big. Norman Osborn is not a big fan. Well, he made it perfectly clearly. He's not a big fan of the Avengers or any people like that. All right, like or anything like that. And Peter had to go through different costume changes. There's one episode where he goes through 3 or 4 costume changes as a joke. It's funny, but it's a joke. Okay. And then, and the final episodes, he finally gets the classic Spider-Man costume that we're all used to. Remember, it was never shown in the trailers or in the preview of him finally showing him in the classic costume that we all classically know what Peter looks like, Spider-Man. That was on purpose, and we're not going to show that in the some of the scenes or the trailer or whatever. That was on purpose. We're not going to release anything of him being in the classic costume because that was going to be a surprise, right? That's supposed to be a surprise, and that's exactly what happened. Some of them they might. Some of them they might. I don't know. And what I like about the Spider-Man, we see him take down common criminals. Not as like a high-powered supervillains. See him down like muggers, thieves, carjackers, right? We see him take them down, right? in this show. Okay, I do like that. Now with Harry finds out that Peter is inspired by accident. It's funny too. Uh, Harry's a rich kid's son, right? But he doesn't have any friends unless like the friends that want something. Your friends with this person because he's rich and he can do this for you or she can do this for you, right? You're not really friends. You really don't care about this person. You're just using them. Harry's felt like that as a rich person, and to him, Peter is like the real first friend that doesn't he doesn't feel is using him in that way. And him and Nina, Peter invites him for like a not a sleepover, but for a night, right? For a friend's night. He invites Harry and Nina come over, and he wants them to get along, right? Nina is kind of the person that's like doesn't have time for people like Harry. She's very ignorant of people like Harry, the rich people, and especially the Osborne name. She doesn't trust the Osborne name, which is why so you can't trust. She thinks Osborne is Oscorp is suspect, and they are obviously right. They try to, Peter leaves because Peter has to do something came up for him as to do Spider-Man, so he leaves them two alone in the apartment, and they start talking, and then oh, here's blinded. Man, blinded. I've been talking for half an hour, man. Where have you been?
I was talking to my dad. That's why.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand why you don't have to say it on here, man. And
Well, I could say it's all right. My cat passed away, so uh, she was 16, so she did live a long life. But yeah, I'm still sad. So I mean, I didn't get to watch the last two episodes, but I
okay.
do like the show though. I've been defending the show.
Oh, I just spoil it for. Did I spoil it for you?
No, I told you I'm gonna watch it after this. I've been
You don't,
trying to work on this assignment.
you don't care if I mean, I you don't care if I did spoil it.
Just don't spoil the last two. Let's just talk
I
about
really
the.
did. That's a
Okay, well,
problem.
I didn't hear.
Oh, I'm gonna try to be careful then. Well, I was okay.
Yeah, I mean, I do. Like I said, I did get spoiled today because I don't know where I saw it, but I just saw that, yeah, Peter's dad's in it, and so I
Oh
don't know
yeah, he's
what the
alive. Yeah.
context is. Yeah, I don't know what the context is, what's going on, because I mean, in the comics, obviously, his dad, his parents were Shield agents who died.
Not in
So
this. Not in this. Not in this.
okay, they're not doing
Ready?
that. But I mean, there is this whole arc of his parents in the comics. So yeah, thanks Degrassi. She was a good cat. I didn't get to spend a lot of time with her because it was my dad's cat, but I did grow up with her. Um, she was a red tabby cat. Um,
Yeah, I'm trying to
and
look at the chat.
yeah, don't look at the chat.
Because I
Yeah,
kind of
also
spoiled two
sideways,
big characters in this.
sideways. Just so you know, that was me on Threads. I changed my name to Keanu Dreads. But so let me just say this because this was, oh my God. I posted on, I saw a sideways post on Threads. He said the show was great, so I said I'm glad you like the show, right? And then some guy responds to me, so why didn't you like the show? And I'm like, holy shit, this is one of those moments where everybody talks about like people just assume and misinterpret shit that you say on the internet. So I'm like, where did I say I didn't like the show, right? And then he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and blah blah blah. But I'm like, I was just like blown away. I was like, I never even said I hate the show. I just said I just saw Sideways. I know Sideways, right? I consider Sideways my buddy, right? He's in my chat.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
seen him, yeah, right? So I'm like, yeah. So I just saw his post. I was like, yeah. I'm like, I'm glad you like the show, right? But anyway, people are weird. People are weird. Yeah,
I saw.
cats
I
are.
checked that. I checked that on Threads because I've been posting a little bit more on Threads now too.
Yeah, yeah. Cats are very incredible creatures. Yeah, they're a handful for sure.
Handful.
Yeah, she's very she was very what's it called, defensive cat. I remember when she was a kitten though. But yeah, I mean my dog is 12. She's gonna be 13 this year, but she doesn't really act like it. She acts more like a puppy still. So yeah, I
She's in her.
just
I mean, she's in her. She's
yeah, in her
13.
60s.
Yeah, she'll be. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it's getting there, getting old.
yeah. She doesn't. Yeah, I mean she's a lot more active, very hyper. She's a very hyper dog. Just loves running and stuff. So
That's good.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Her name was Bella. My cat's name was Bella. She was born 2009. So yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Dogs and cats don't live human years, man. They live. I mean, like how we live.
No, I wish they did. I wish
Yeah,
they did. Yeah, she wasn't feeling well, and I thought she would have had a little bit more time. Because sometimes she doesn't feel well, and then she kind of comes back. But
yeah. That's a
she,
sign of she's old.
yeah, she passed away in her sleep. So
Yeah.
at
Well,
least
at least it's
she's sleeping.
peacefully.
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
That was weird for sure. Yeah, my dog is getting old sucks. Yeah, yeah.
Getting old
I
sucks.
it's hard sometimes. Yeah, because I had birds that passed away and recently too. Because yeah, I love animals.
The thing is, people, they lose their pets, and then sometimes and it's hard to replace that pet. It's
Yeah,
not the same, right? Because like, yeah, you don't want to be, you don't like you. It's hard to replace a family member,
right.
right? Like it's hard because you
Yeah, it
get
is hard.
attached.
Yeah,
My dogs, yeah, you have two dogs to grass. I know that.
yeah.
Uh, all right. Oh, so you did see it last, but I kind of spoiled the last episode. Well, don't read the chat then.
I guess I can. You could tell me some spoilers.
Well,
I still want to watch it because hold on. Let me just say this. I love the show. I've been like the moment it came on and when I watched those two episodes, I was like blown away. I couldn't believe I was like, people hate this show. This is like
why?
one of the like this is definitely the top three Spider-Man cartoons, like with Spectacular Spider-Man and the '90s
And
Spider-Man. Like
I'm gonna say
how
this:
anyone would hate
the
this is beyond
the
me.
Degrassi might get mad at me, even though this is not technically a 2023 show. I think Creature Commandos is on the bottom of that list of the four
Or you mean
animation shows.
2024?
Yeah, 2024. I
I would say, I mean, this show had, because this is the thing. My problem with Creature Commandos was just I was kind of more disappointed with the plot. While this one, I feel like there was a lot of like it had some of the good
it
elements
wasn't
of
a
Creature
linear plot.
Commandos.
This one, it wasn't a linear plot.
No,
There's a lot of stories going on. Like
there was a lot of story going on for
yeah,
sure. Yeah,
like
like
the
'cause,
creature,
yeah, they had the villains of the week, and then you had
creature,
like all the stuff with
the
Norman.
creature commandos. All the origins were flashbacks. Here, the origins were not
Mhm.
flashbacks. They were going organically as the episodes were going on.
Right.
Right? And I just sorry, Degrassi. I'm just saying, like, I think I like this show. I like my great gripe with this is that I wish Marvel Studios promoted this show better than they
Yeah.
did. Like X-Men '97, like they promoted the hell of that show, and that was a great show. Don't get me wrong, like they should have. But this show, I felt like
Yeah, this
they
show,
didn't
I
care.
feel like, in all honesty, I wouldn't, I don't have any problems with the show. Like, I thought the show was very compelling. I liked the idea of Norman Osborn being a mentor to Peter and seeing how he was. not a very good mentor. Maybe because I kind of relate to that. Like, I'm not sure if anybody's had a mentor
Well,
that
that
you
changes in the
really
end, but
like. They meant good, but at the same time, I don't know, they didn't give you good advice. And
no, no,
so,
not Norman Osborn.
well, Norman Osborn didn't give Peter and like really like it was sound advice, but it wasn't good advice for Peter. And I like that about the show. It
That
was like
changes in
that felt real to me.
that changes in the last two episodes. He kind of
Okay.
distances himself from Norman.
Yeah, yeah,
Because what
I'm not
happens?
surprised by
What
that.
happens in the last episode? Um, it's fine. There's actually time travel in the last episode.
Okay.
Uh, what you see in the last episode, it happened in the first episode. At the beginning of the first
Oh,
episode.
right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we get Doctor Strange again.
Yeah. And he's pretty significant in the last episode, right?
What has Sideways done to get suspended?
What
Or
if I
thrown
get
in
suspended
Twitter
for
jail.
extra? Why would he get suspended?
Yeah, he's like inciting a Twitter riot in the Transformers community. Yeah, what is your Twitter
Sideways? I
Sideways?
gotta check. I gotta check. I gotta look right now.
My show is just
Sideways.
I like that. Yeah, Apple and Oranges. Yeah, it's true. Because like none of the shows are bad, right? It's like I think if anything, all of the animation shows that we've gotten from both Marvel and DC
Really good.
have been extremely good. Like uh consistent, good stories. Very, I would say the animation is good. I know a lot of people don't like the animation in this show, but I thought it really worked well, especially with the action, especially the choreography. It worked well. So I never really had any issues with the animations. I thought it was, again, it was kind of it felt um like
I
it was interesting to look at. Let's put it that way.
I
We're
mean,
very vague, but
I agree with Degrassi. Though this is a cartoon and not live
mhm.
action, but I like this Peter better than Tom Holland. I
Yeah,
think he's
same.
better. I think he's better. This is what
I
Tom Holland's Peter should have been. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I just like the fact that he's kind of more. I don't know. He like he's a kid, but he's a little bit more mature. Like he's definitely thinking about his friends and the people that he's saving and stuff. Like I like that moment where he saves that lady, and he's like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's like, yeah, she only stole the money because she's broke, right?
and yeah, it's just that he
And
also
people are
like.
complaining about that. Like I'll talk about that in a second, but yeah,
Well, he's complaining that the lady stole the money because she's broke. I mean,
yeah.
the
Well,
thing
they're
is,
saying like she should have never like let her go and stuff like that. And it's like the thing is like one I okay, the Stan Lee Steve Ditko Spider-Man, like the MCU had like shades of him, right? In
yeah,
terms of I feel more so like the naivety, right? Like of Peter. But I would say in some cases like
there's a difference.
that's not the Peter Parker that people really know. Like that Peter Parker was kind of an asshole. Like
Oh,
he was more, and I think that was more so because of Steve Ditko.
like
But I don't know if I don't like if they try to 100%
Peter,
adapt that, I don't think it would work. I think
you
people
know,
would be confused.
you know what Peter Parker, Spider Man is? He's a vigilante in New York with powers.
Hmm.
Like Batman's a vigilante, but he has kind of the good natured personality like Superman. Because Superman would have done
Right.
the exact same thing. He would have caught the person and be like, Super. He's like Superman in terms of personality wise, like that. Superman would do the exact same thing with the person. Be like, don't. I'm not gonna just take mercy on this person. She just stole because she could afford something. Superman's like that. Peter is like that. Like two.
Hmm.
Like Peter is a combination of Superman and Batman in one. If you really think about
Right.
it, right? He's not
Yeah.
the dark brooding, but he's a vigilante, right? Superman is personality wise of Peter. Like that's why
Hmm.
people gravitate to Peter, the Spider Man, not just because he's a kid, but he's like like the best version of a superhero. Like even more than Superman.
Right.
Okay, like sorry, Degrassi. I think Degrassi understands my point, and
Hmm.
right, Yeah, Pearl is Liz because there is no Mary Jane and Gwen Stacy, and so
Right.
I don't understand. I thought Pearl was older than him.
Yeah,
Is it?
she is. She's like yeah, I
Then
thought, but they're in the same classes though.
is it? Do you think it's because Peter is gifted, so he's in a higher in a class that's? You think it's
Maybe it
because
could just maybe it could be well in high school sometimes they do
yeah.
you could take different courses, but I'm pretty sure it's depending on the grade. Maybe it's different in the
I
states. I
don't
don't know.
sense I don't sense Pearl. I mean, I don't sense Pearl's a bad student. Like, I don't think she's like a genius at Peter. I don't sense she's a bad student though. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
think she's
thought they
got
were all smart though.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there, but
because she got a
yeah, because
crush.
they are because she said he was her babysitter, and she's like what 2 years older than him.
2 or 3. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
weird. Because if she's in high school as a freshman, wouldn't she be like a junior or senior?
yeah,
Why would they be in the same class?
yeah. I don't know about that. That was
And why
yeah,
would she, if she's like a junior, sophomore, or a senior, why would she be like in a freshman class? You know how bad you have to be at school for that? And I don't get the
yeah.
sense from her like she's that.
No, yeah. That
Like,
that was weird.
I don't, yeah. All right, like I don't, but her, I mean, Lonnie, we know he becomes, he eventually does get powers. Um,
Okay.
he doesn't
Does he?
turn no Bino. He doesn't turn no.
Okay.
Um, he becomes
Then
a new leader.
what is his powers? Is it like Luke Cage or like what is
Yeah,
it?
like he's like kind of like has he's invulnerable to stuff like,
Right.
and then he could, yeah, he doesn't get hurt, pain. He eventually gets that. Oh, that's because him and his gang, the gang that he was with, I forget his boss. They're going to steal some Oscorp stuff, right? Look for weapons or whatever to use in the gang war against the Scorpions.
Hmm.
And he goes in the truck, the Oscorp trucks, and starts knocking things around. He accidentally knocked something down with a canister, and that canister opened, and you see the whatever was in that canister start to spread around, like fill up, and
Okay.
that got into him, right? And that got into his system. That's what gave him his powers, abilities.
Mm, okay.
Yeah, but I thought it was
I
going to
thought
turn
they
out.
would have. I'll buy. Yeah, I thought they were gonna make him
But I
or
knew why they
whatever.
weren't going to do that. It's going to cause issues.
I think. Yeah, I would assume it would have been maybe. I mean, well, it would have been in poor taste for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and he does become the new leader of a gang because of I forget the guy's name, but he works for the Kingpin and the whatever the other thing in comics and
Hmm.
stuff. He kind of backs out of the fight with the Scorpions and turns his back on his gang and backs out, just runs away. And Tombstone finally becomes the leader of the gang. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, like as happens in the episode, the second last episode.
Okay.
Second last episode. He also does help Spider-Man in the same battle take down Scorpion, right?
Hmm.
Okay, Matt Gargan. Um, we also see that Doc Ock, you know, he has a grudge
Yeah.
against Norman
Norman.
Osborn, just like the Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
Did they ever have a grudge in the comics?
Um.
Like,
I'm not sure. I don't think so, but I kind of think later on they did. I don't know about the early days, but um, no, I don't actually don't know. No,
hmm,
Degrassi will probably put in the comments.
yeah.
Yeah, because
um,
I don't actually know. Let me see. I'm gonna Google it.
and Doc Ock wants applying all the technology to all the other criminals, right?
Hmm.
The Unicorn, Bonnie and Clyde characters, the Firefly ripoff, Scorpion, and right? And we're gonna see the beginning of him becoming Doctor Octopus. Also, as yes, there is a list. There was a list. Harry at the ending. Nina is her name. Nino. I don't know. And Peter decided to become a team together for the Peter for Spider-Man, because Peter leaves. Norman Osborn decides to abandon that because of what happened in the last episode and start something with Harry and Nina. And there's a list of people. One of them had Ned Leeds, Max Dillon, and a few others. I have to see the list again. It was only for a few seconds. Uh, that's in the last episode. We are going to see Venom too.
Mm,
Venom. We're going to see Venom because the last episode, Nico, yeah, last episode had something to do with the first episode, right? Time travel stuff like that. And while they tried to close the portal to the symbiotes, what they did, piece of the symbiote managed to managed to get out.
mm,
And Norman Osborn comes back from the scene of the destruction of the symbiote and Doctor Strange and Peter and Spider Man. He sees it on the ground, obviously, and Osborn and Oscorp's going to study it. So there's Venom, the beginning of Venom, right there. So we're gonna see Venom. We are gonna see a bit of Green Goblin, like the beginnings of Green Goblin. We're getting bits and pieces of Green Goblin. And what I mean
mm.
by that, his repertoire, what he uses, like the glider. You may see some of the glider. One episode he used a glider to help Peter fight off a villain, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
Wait, so is he going to become Green Goblin or?
Yeah, we're starting to slowly. I think they're slowly building him up
Okay.
to Green Goblin. But
Because
some of
I
the
was thinking, because the way that they have Norman here, I was wondering, I'm like, would they make him Green Goblin or would they make him like an Iron Patriot?
no
Because
Green.
because the way he had Captain America on his wall and the way that he was kind of
Oh,
acting, it made me think. I mean, yeah, we did see the glider, right? But
what
like,
he
I
said.
was thinking if
What he said to Doctor Strange may change your mind. He kind of chastised Avengers,
mm,
his true feelings towards them.
right, but I mean, well, the thing is, like, Iron Patriot is the Dark Avengers, right? So, and that was
Yeah.
when
No,
that
well,
was when Norman like got rid of the Green Goblin, right? And
sideways.
they
Yeah,
didn't.
sideways. Sideways could back me up because he sideways saw the last two episodes, and you could
Yeah.
see some of the teases of Green Goblin a little bit. Not his personality, but the weapons and stuff he uses.
Well, that's what I mean. The
Yeah,
weapons and all that stuff that could still fit into the Iron
yeah,
Patriot, right?
yeah. Um, yeah, kind of like. I mean, the third Spider-Man game, we are going to get Green Goblin.
Yeah, but I
Whenever
mean,
that comes
I don't
out.
know what in the third I, that teaser in Spider-Man 2 makes me think they might do Superior Spider-Man because I don't know why he had the eyes at the ending looking like Spider-Man. Like that had to be intentional. Like why would they set up the lighting like that where his glasses would reflect and then make the Spider-Man lenses on his eyes? That was weird. So I mean we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. I mean, it's gonna be a while until we get Spider-Man 3.
And we do see Nico. Yeah, Nico's the friend. Like it's really really
Yeah.
odd. Like Nico is his friend, and like Nico's like it's, that's what caught me out of left field. Like really, that's that's
Oh, that
Nico.
she's friends with Peter.
By the way, in high school, like yeah, she's she's known
Well,
to
I
be
think
part
they
of.
became friends because this was also in the show that was like rushed. I'm not sure if anybody picked up on this, but uh because I don't think they like clearly state what happened. So in the beginning of the show, right, when the whole attack happens on Midtown, like that's basically like um what would you call it? Like a differentiating point
Yeah,
compared to like what happens to the MCU because that wasn't supposed to happen, right? The whole portal thing. Like if that didn't
that's
happen, everything would have just played out like the normal MCU,
well you'll see in the last
and
episode.
he
Doctor
wouldn't he
Strange
wouldn't.
explains that.
Oh well. Oh, he does explain that.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. So yeah, that was my theory was that yeah, it just plays out like the normal MCU because the Midtown had to get shut down,
it's
and
just.
as a result,
I
Peter
think it was
didn't meet
destroyed,
his
wasn't
friends
it?
group. Yeah, well, it got shut down. It didn't get completely destroyed, but part
Oh,
of it was damaged, so they shut down the
oh,
school.
oh, and the last episode when Doctor Strange warned Norman Osborn not to open up a portal to another world,
Hmm.
right? Oh, Norman Osborn snapped at Doctor Strange mentioning that school. snapped.
Oh, at Midtown.
No, he snapped at Doctor Strange for mentioning that school. I'm like, why?
Mm.
What does Midtown mean to you? Like,
Because I think maybe he knows what was supposed to happen. Because I
oh,
also think too.
he snapped at the Avengers of Doctor Strange. He
Did you
was,
also think it was suspicious that he knew that Spider-Man saves Harry?
yeah,
Because like most of the time, it didn't seem like Norman and Harry talked a lot.
no, no,
So
no.
it made me
Also,
suspicious that I think he knew about Spider-Man beforehand, and I think he kind of wanted to use him, like guide him in a specific direction.
make him his. You know how like Shield uses some of the because the Soviet Accords are in effect. So Shield uses
Mhm.
some of the ones that signed on to Soviet Accords, right, as soldiers like Iron Man. So
Right.
maybe Norman Osborn took an opportunity if Norman Osborn took an opportunity to use Spider-Man that way because if Spider-Man gets in trouble, technically Spider-Man has to register with the Soviet Accords. Norman Osborn has power to get him
Hmm.
out of trouble, right?
Right.
Because Norman Osborn does have connections to the so-called the government because he's the one
Hmm.
that tipped off Thunderbolt Ross and Iron Man about the whereabouts of Doctor Octopus or Doctor Octavius, whatever, same guy.
Right.
Yeah. Also some of the stuff that happened because we know in this show some of the stuff that happened in the actual MCU happened. He talks about the Soviet Accords, the 2012 Battle of the Avengers. He mentioned that Norman Osborn,
Mm.
and he mentioned another event. Well, obviously the Battle of Sokovia, obviously, because why
Yeah.
else would it be Accords? Obviously that. Um, he really stabbed at Doctor Strange, chastising Avengers that the Avengers don't do anything right.
Well, well, there is one thing I will say though, because unless, I mean, again, we never really got official confirmation about this, but the MCU made it seem like there was not a Norman Osborn in the MCU.
Yes. Yeah.
So if that is the case, then that means there is something different about this universe.
Well, here's the thing. This may be an animation show, but they show the Watcher at the ending too.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
by the way, did you hear the rumor that the Watcher is going to be in Fantastic Four?
Maybe, yeah. Possibly, yeah, because it's a universal thing, yeah. I
Well,
can see.
well, because here's the theory, right? Because I believe it's in What If season 3. There's a line from the Watcher. Um, I don't know who he's talking to because again, I never saw that show and I don't really want to watch it. But there is the Watcher says that there was one time he actually intervened, and he said that the only time he intervened was to save a important uh he
Event,
says
yeah.
this version that not important event. He says this I had to save a Reed Richards. He says Reed Richards.
Oh,
And so the theory that's going around is that the Watcher saves Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four movie. That he that Reed Richard is actually special to something in the
okay.
multiverse. Yeah. But that's just the theory right now. I mean,
I
it's a
mean,
very compelling theory. I mean, again, I kind of see
I
that.
prefer the cartoons in the live action stuff to be separated. Personally, I
Yeah,
like.
but if you think about it like this, they cast now a well-known actor as the Watcher, so you might as well put use to him, right? And the What If is technically
I
canon to the MCU.
yeah, that's true. Technically, it is. I just don't. I just if I just prefer not to do live action and cartoon. I just prefer to do live action and cartoon separate. That's
I
me.
think it will be separate, but I mean, if you're to introduce, I mean, the Watcher. Well, first
For
off,
both
well, we
DC
we
and
saw the
Marvel.
Watchers in Guardians of the Galaxy too.
Yeah, yeah, we
But
did.
but if you were to introduce them and explain the Watcher, it would
That,
make sense. It would be in Fantastic Four.
and they were never explained in Guardians for that. Like
No, no.
the closest we got to them was like in Loki season one. They started talking about the Watchers, but they're really Kang.
Yeah, the Watch. I mean, they never really.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, they might as well just introduce the Watcher in Fantastic Four. I think it would kind of be cool to see that, but we'll see, I guess.
You might see the Doctor Doom approach the Watcher and try to steal his power or whatever.
Hmm.
Like in the Marvel Heroes game, the game that got shut down because allegations of the allegations
Yeah.
behind. Right, there was allegations behind that game,
Hmm.
and that shut down the game. But like Doctor Doom was like the first main villain.
All I could say is Captain Carter dies in the show.
Like she doesn't know. Well, yeah. The thing is, that's not the same Captain Carter and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Mass. Is a different
Mm.
one.
By the way, I couldn't really find an answer on Norman Osborn and Doc Ock. I'm guessing no in the main continuity. In the ultimate continuity, no, Doctor Octopus worked for Norman, which was like everybody was like working under Norman because like Oscorp was like connected with Venom and all different other characters. So, um, but I mean, eh, I mean, it is. I mean, the way that the show is going, though, they're not really making again because I didn't watch the last two episodes, but they are making like Doc Ock really a because I mean Doc Ock has more. I think well, I feel like Doc Ock has more ties to Peter, like personally, than Norman did. Like Norman, like
Not this one.
comes kind of around and kind of fucks with Peter's
Yeah.
life, obviously, right? Like he's the reason why Gwen is dead. Um, and then all the fucked up shit that he's done after all that with Gwen. But I mean, but Doc Ock was always I don't know. After Superior Spider-Man, it felt like Doc Ock is more personally connected with Peter, especially looking back on it. It's like, yeah, that makes a little bit more
There's a
sense.
lot of there's a lot of connection between Peter and Doc Ock, in different incarnations. Like Spider-Man Two, the movie.
Yeah.
He's his idol. The
Which, by the
video
way,
game.
there's a reference to Spider-Man 2, that
Yes.
joke. You got that joke. That was a pretty funny
Yeah,
joke.
and also the video game, the first one, Spider-Man, the first Sonic game. He
Mhm.
works with Doc Ock. Not in this show. This show, they don't know each other,
No, yeah.
uh, but there's I even think in the Spider-Man animation show from the early '90s, Peter was a student at like science camp, and Doc Ock was one of the science teachers there or something like that.
Mhm.
He called him a
Yeah.
genius. It makes it. The thing is, I think they're inspired. This Doc Ock was already a villain, selling equipment to other villains to make money
Right.
for his experiments, for his lab, whatever. But he's perceived as a loser, and so in this show, somebody
Right.
disrespected, kind of like the Doc Ock in the first game. But in the first game, he was perceived as a loser. But the first game, he wasn't in the right state of mind. It was actually the things in the back, kind of like talking to him, right? Kind of like the
Hmm.
Spider-Man movie too, the Spider-Man 2 movie.
Hmm.
Like the thing is, remember the Spider-Man 2 movies is like the tentacles were actually talking to him. Which
Yeah.
in other incarnations, the tentacles were not really talking to him. Like he was he was
No,
just
that
like
was part of the because the chip was communicating with his
yeah,
brain, right?
yeah, yeah. And in other incarnations, he was a normal he was talking he was normal. His state of mind was normal. He wasn't talking to anybody. Nothing was talking to him,
Hmm.
right?
Well, by the way, did Daredevil ever come back in the show or
Yes,
no?
the last
Oh, he does.
episode for 2 seconds. Do you know one of the science interns that works at Oscorp, the woman, not the Wakanda, but the other one? Remember she got caught spying, trying to sneak into Oscorp's office?
Oh,
Remember?
that one, the other,
Yeah,
yeah, she was,
undercover, undercover for Daredevil. That she's
oh, really? Okay.
yeah, I forget her name was Jean. Jean.
Yeah, she was because it was like the four of them. One was like
Well, I
a
think
Wakanda. I can never say his name. Oh my God. Cho, you know who I'm talking
yeah,
about.
Amidas Cho. Yeah, he's in it.
Yeah, I can never say his name. It's
I thought
Animanius. I can
I
never
thought
say it.
I thought the Black Panther one, Wakanda. I thought that was Sherry for a second.
No, yeah, I mean she kind of acts like Shuri, but she's
Yeah,
not.
yeah. So yeah, Jean was undercover I think that might be Jane DeWolf from the comics,
Ah,
even though she's
that would be.
technically dead. Like Sin Eater killed her. I think.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. But I mean, that would kind of make sense because I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
they have a lot of references, right? Like I said, the that cranky
made us.
guy who's all I can never say it. Like again, I could spell it, but I can never. Something about the A's are throwing me off. And
Yeah,
yeah, I got to hear someone say it, and then I could say it. Yeah, but
and
anyway.
they clearly set up other villains. I mean, we're gonna get like
Yeah, I was gonna
lizards.
say one the lizard and the wizard. The wizard
Yeah, the
is
wizard.
the
There we go.
cranky guy.
I was gonna say Whirlwind because I thought there was a villain named Whirlwind too.
There is Whirlwind. Is it Whirlwind? The wizard is a Fantastic Four villain, but I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
I mean,
Whirlwind.
don't be
I don't
surprised if
know.
Fantastic Four is in this universe. I
Yeah,
think. I think.
Whirlwind. Yeah. Whirlwind is an Avengers villain,
Yeah, the
but the
wizard's in it.
wizard. Yeah,
I first thought that guy was gonna be the Jackal when I first saw. Oh, that's the Jackal. Miles. What's his name? No,
Miles. Is it Miles Teller
I almost said
is it
Miles
Miles Teller?
Teller, the
I
actor.
think it is actually Miles Teller.
Is
Let me
it?
just see.
Oh my god.
Let me see. I don't think it maybe or maybe.
Well, Miles Teller.
No, Miles Warren, sorry. Miles
Miles
Warren.
Ward. Miles.
Yeah.
Miles Teller, the actor. Ah.
Yeah, Miles Warren, yeah.
Miles Teller.
Yeah, I almost felt I was like, damn, I actually think it was Miles Teller. Because yeah,
The
it had some generic fucking last name, but yeah. Warren, Miles
former
Warren
Reed
is the
Richards.
jackal. Yeah, that would have been funny. A lot of people want
Well,
Miles Teller to come back though.
Miles Teller is just one of those actors you just want to punch in the face. He always gives you like a smug look. Like, I'm sorry.
Mm,
I'm just saying, he always has that smug look. Like, you just want to punch in the face. He
yeah,
plays
he
jerks
does.
very good.
Who else was in the show? I'm trying to think. I do
uh,
like that they add Speedball. I did like that.
Speedball, yeah,
I
yeah.
kind of want them to add Boomerang though. Boomerang is another favorite like Z-list Spider-Man villain that I want to see one day.
um,
Boomerang and Beetle. Yeah,
yeah, so
because
they're the,
they were on the superior foes of Spider-Man. Boomerang, Speed Demon. I was gonna say that. Sorry, I take that back. Did I say Speedball? I meant Speed Demon. Speedball's a different character. Speed Demon
Speedball,
is the
yeah.
one that I don't think Speed Demon was ever in animation, was he? Was he in another cartoon? I don't think he was.
No.
Let me
Tarantulas was
check.
in it, really?
Yeah, the
Oh,
the female tarantula. I never knew this, but because Tony had to tell me, I was only familiar with the classic tarantula, the guy with the mask. I didn't
oh
even know
yeah.
there was a female
Oh, it
tarantula.
was. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you remember the gang met with somebody in the alleyway? Was that Chameleon? Because I had a Russian accent.
Yeah, that was yeah. I told you there's this show confirms a MCU theory, a long time MCU theory that the guy that was in No Way Home, his name was what's the chameleon's name? I'm blanking on it.
Oh, I knew it was Chameleon, the brother of Craven.
Yeah, I'm blanking some
Dimitri.
Dimitri. Yeah, so in Far From Home, there's a guy named Dimitri, and people thought he was the chameleon, right? But that never
He's in
there
Craven.
was no evidence of that. But in the show, the way that they designed the chameleon, it's the same design of that actor. Like it's the same. He has the same
Yeah.
look. So yeah, that was pretty much like that was them confirming that theory. That's what I took it as. That Dimitri in the MCU was great, was chameleon. They just never did anything with him.
Yeah, because Sony probably said, you know what, we want to use him. Yeah, and he used him in a shitty Craven movie. Oh
Yeah.
my god, he was a pussy in
Yeah,
that
he
movie.
was the bus driver. Yeah. He was working with Nick Fury. So the theory was that he was chameleon, but he was going to be a Skrull that could shapeshift.
Oh my
That
god,
was
that
the
would be
theory.
terrible.
That was the thing. Well, they were all going to
I mean,
connect it to the
I
MCU,
mean,
right? Because you
pretty
remember
crazy
that they were going to do Craven, and Craven was going to be from Wakanda, and then they scrapped that idea.
because that's a bad idea. I mean, the movie was horrible, but that's still a bad idea.
Yeah.
This
Speed Demon was in another cartoon.
also, and Chameleon is going to be in Spider-Man 3, the video game.
Was Boomerang in a cartoon? Now I'm
I
curious.
don't know, right? Right? Because in the Chameleon will probably be in Spider-Man 3 because we do the side missions in Spider-Man 2, but it does get
Yeah,
away.
he is. He got away. Yeah, Boomerang was in a cartoon. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Craven is. Yeah, Chameleon had like a short cameo in the show, right?
Mhm.
Uh, King. I thought King. I mean, I think Kingpin is in the universe. Obviously, I mean, I think a lot of people are
Yeah.
established in this
Well,
universe.
I thought Kingpin was going to be in the show. He's not in the show.
He's not in the last two episodes.
Oh, because Vincent D'Onofrio said that he's in the Spider-Man show.
Well, he's not.
Huh. Okay, that's weird. I mean, maybe he was talking about another season.
Well, yeah, yeah, but he's not in this first season.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's weird that he said that and he wasn't even in this season.
Charlie Cox voiced Daredevil.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the show. But yeah, that's weird that they
Boomerang
yeah.
was Ultimate Spider-Man. Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
the Ben
Yeah, I
Parker.
just saw
He
it.
is Ben Parker, not Ben Parker. Who is?
So yeah, so explain what happens with
He's in
Peter's
prison.
dad. But for what?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Is it maybe okay, you know what they might this is my theory, right? Because in the comics, Peter's parents were like as
Ace.
people know, they were agents. They weren't agents of Shield, but they were part of Shield, but they were undercover spies before that, right? And I'm forgetting how it all like comes together, but I believe it was Peter's parents were uh, being accused of something, and this is someone basically orchestrated an attack, and that's how they ended up dying. Um, but I don't remember what they did, right? And so
Yeah.
what I was gonna say is maybe what they're gonna do in the show is that instead maybe they didn't die, or maybe Peter's mom dies and Peter's dad gets arrested for the fake crime that he did. I have to go back. Maybe Degrassi Moore's knows
CW
some of the
show.
stuff.
CW show. What the?
Someone said on T. Yeah, I mean, I
Also,
don't know
like,
those people on Twitter.
correct me if I'm wrong. Amazing Spider-Man 2. They were doing a
Mhm.
storyline with Pierce, like storyline with Spider-Man's parents, kind of, right?
Yeah, they were.
Why did they go in hiding? Why did they die in that crash? I think the original plan was they're trying. I think they were trying to do Venom again.
Well, they were doing what they did in the Ultimate Universe. So in the Ultimate Universe, it's different, right?
Yeah, it's a different Venom character, of course.
Peter's parents, or at least his dad,
Yeah,
actually worked with Eddie Brock's parents
yeah,
to
yeah.
because they were
There's
trying to
video game
cure
based on that
cancer.
too.
Yeah, they were trying to cure cancer, and then they
Yeah, that's
both
the
died,
symbiote.
right?
Yeah,
And yeah, and so Eddie Brock was an old
yeah,
friend of Peter, and he came back and was like, "Hey, we should work on this the project," and it was Venom.
yeah.
Um,
I think that's what just trying. I think that's what they were planning to do. Was Amazing Spider-Man was trying to go back to the Venom well again. Like
yeah.
I know there
Well,
was a
they
game.
had the cut scene. Did you ever see the cut scene from Amazing Spider-Man 2, where at the ending, where Peter's at Gwen's grave, his dad actually shows up, and his dad is actually alive.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that was, and his dad was gonna like help him become Spider-Man or whatever. Well, but here's the thing, right? Because there's a lot of weird shit with Spider-Man, right? Because there was another thing that was introduced in the main continuity was that, um, and well, I mean, I don't know if they'll ever use this because now Madam
previous
Web
Spider-Man
already
was supposed to have
tainted the shit.
Mary Jane too, but
But Ezekiel was basically saying that Peter, like the whole like
Yeah.
Peter getting bit was not. It wasn't a coincidence, right? Like there's,
Oh,
it was all intended. Like it was all because
yeah.
like apparently Spider-Man represents the spider avatar, just like how Black Panther represents the Black Panther avatar, right?
Well,
And so like his powers are actually like magical, um, but they never really
you know
elaborate on
what?
it.
That would be such a better story if for the movie where Madame Web has to keep Peter Parker alive just because of that. Like for
Yeah,
this,
that would have been more interesting, but
I
I
don't
guess
know
they
how much.
cut it
I mean,
out
it'd be a
for
better
whatever
story. I don't
reason.
know how much better the movie would actually be.
It would make a little bit more sense, but
Yeah,
yeah,
like because that movie, I think that original. I thought everybody thought the original plot was like Terminator, right? Basically, kill the
yeah,
mother, right, of the savior of mankind. And in Spider-Man's case, birth of Spider-Man because of whatever Ezekiel, whatever. But they changed the whole thing. That movie is shit.
yeah.
And I don't know how people. I don't know how they got a better. I don't. I don't know how they got a better sim. They did not get a better sim score to Captain America, did it?
I
I don't know.
believe it. Uh,
I don't
let
know
me
how.
look it up. Let me look
I
it
know
up.
some people could say Captain America was a Sony like Spider-Man movie. Like, have you seen Man of Web? Have you seen Morbius? Have you
No,
seen
no, it
Joker?
didn't. Madam Web got a C plus,
But I just don't
which
understand.
is C to which is, I mean, what
The
did Captain
worst,
America get? A B minus, right?
the worst MCU movie is better than Man of Web. Okay, like
Yeah.
okay. The worst
Oh
MCU
yeah, they're gonna bring back. I just saw a sideways comment. Yeah,
in the comics, yeah, yeah. But
well,
that
no,
happens
okay,
all the time. Don't they bring it
no,
back
no,
all the
but this
time?
is well, they no, well, okay. Here's the thing, right? Gwen Stacy, yeah, they have brought her back and then said that she was a clone and all that bullshit, right? But
And woman got pregnant and has a kids with her or whatever
yeah,
like
that
that.
was all fucking
Yeah,
gobbledygook
there's some
bullshit.
pretty sick, disgusting shit happened in Spider-Man comics they have done.
Yeah, but okay, this is the thing that I don't understand, right? So because I saw this right, and I'm like, wait a minute, okay, so they're bringing back Gwen Stacy, the main continuity Gwen Stacy, to be Gwenpool, but I was like, wait a minute, but the whole point of Gwenpool is the fact that she's not Gwen Stacy, she's like Gwen something, like Gwen Pooley or some bullshit. That's her name,
Gwen
and
Polio.
she's like a fangirl who came into the Marvel universe. I, so
Oh,
um,
she's
so
Kamala Khan. I'm just
so
kidding.
I have no clue why they are even doing this. Like, first off, like who wanted? First off, if you're gonna bring back Gwen Stacy, which I don't even think that's a good idea. Like, I don't. She's been dead for so long, and they already fucked up bringing her back. I don't see why they would, unless they have like an interesting story. Which, if it's Spider-Man current day, then the answer is no. They don't have any interesting stories. They're just doing it for shock value.
Oh, it's definitely shock
So
value.
yeah, and I also don't really understand why Gwen would become Gwenpool. Like, is it going to be a serious version of Gwenpool? And if that's the case, isn't that just Red Hood? That's literally just Red Hood. Like, I don't see. And also, who would she even be fighting? Is she going after Peter? Like, does she blame Peter for her death? Yeah,
Oh
that's what I
man,
mean. That would
if
just be
that's the
fucking
case,
Red Hood.
if people, yeah, I'm gonna call that out. I'm gonna call that out. And say, yeah, you're just copying Batman.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I do think Marvel should kind of copy Batman in some aspects. Like, I don't understand why they haven't done like a Spider Family at this point. Like, there's really been no official Spider Family. Like, they all
Because
work in a group and shit, but
for some
not
reason,
necessarily.
they always want to keep Peter either a teenager or like in his 20s.
Yeah,
Like that's why,
yeah. They
right?
say they say that because they
Yeah,
believe that like kids are more, what's it called, like they want someone that they can
relate to.
envision them, yeah, relate to, I guess. And so that's why they kind of keep him in this age range where it feels like he's still struggling and stuff. But I don't think a
I
lot
mean,
of people want that. I
look,
don't think it
Batman
works.
doesn't have the problem with kids. He's like 30s to 40s. Like, I think Peter will be fine if they
Yeah.
put him in his 30s, the mid 30s. I think kids will be fine with that. Honestly,
Well, I think most of the people who are reading Spider-Man
yeah,
currently are not kids.
that's true. Kids, yeah,
That's
that's
my
true.
guess. My guess is that if you're a kid, you're probably watching the movies or playing the
Well,
games. You're not reading the comic books.
I'm telling you, when people go to comic book stores, they don't buy one comic book. They buy like what, 6, 7 comic books. Parents are not
Mm.
going to spend $30, 40, $50 a week on kids for
Yeah,
comics.
comic books are expensive now. Yeah,
Yeah,
like here they're like $7. You know what I
yeah,
mean? That's a lot.
yeah. I remember back in the day they used to be $3, but some were like four
Yeah.
bucks a day. Like Detective Comics and Action Comics were like $1 extra.
Mm.
I remember yeah, I know like $6, $7. Back in Degrassi's day, they were probably like $1, $2, probably like 50 cents. In the
Hmm.
70s, 80s, 90s. I don't know how much they were in the 90s. I don't know how much. Yeah, it's just
Probably
that
way cheaper in the
when I went,
90s.
I don't go to the comic book store anymore because I don't have room to buy comics. I don't have that much room. Like you need a lot of room if you're
Mm.
gonna collect comics, right?
Well, I kind of like go to the comic shop and look
Is it
around
mostly
and
kids
see.
there? I because when I
No,
went, it wasn't kids,
no.
and when it was kids there, they weren't looking at the comics
Yeah, they're looking at like toys or
and the cards,
yeah.
Pokemon. Yeah, they were not looking at the comics. There, it was all the adults and teenagers who were looking at the
Yeah, all
comics.
the people so we found this comic book shop um near us, right? I never heard of this place. My friends brought it. Monkey was the one who told me about this
Oh,
place. So we went there, and most of the people who were there buying comics, it was like, yeah, they were all adults. Like there was some women buying comics, and most obviously dudes are gonna be buying
man,
comics.
yeah,
I
especially.
never saw a kid buy a comic, and there were some kids there because their parents were there, but the parents were buying the comics.
Yeah, the parents. Yeah, the parents. If the parents are there, with the kids looking at comics. The parents are most likely in the comics.
Yeah, and like people who
They'll
were
give it to
more
them.
like they were more like young adults or like potential, yeah, they were more young adults. They weren't really teenagers, but and they were buying
When
omnibuses and stuff. So yeah,
when they look when kids when they go to see Marvel movies, DC movies, the stuff they're buying that's merchandise is not comics. It's actually like toys,
yeah,
so stuff like that. It's not the comics. Um, because it really like, the success of the MCU has not really helped Marvel in terms of Marvel. It hasn't really made a
mhm,
right. Like you would think the success of the MCU would really get people's interest in buying Marvel comics. It's not the same. It doesn't. It's not. Same
right.
with DC. And I think DC really hurt his brand with the new 52. And I think they're still trying to recover from that.
Well, I don't know. DC, I think the problem is, and this is just the truth, is that DC doesn't have a ton of popular characters. That's the thing. It's like they have characters that are well known, but they're not. Like when you look, because I said this, we saw this, right? If you look at the charts, I mean, there's like we saw Moon Knight was doing better than fucking Superman.
That's
So you
not
know what
good.
I mean? So Moon Knight is like that's crazy, right? Like Moon Knight was a niche character only just like 5 years ago. So all of a sudden now he's outselling Superman. Is That's crazy. I mean, his comic is good,
And
but I don't know to outsell
yeah, I
Superman.
guarantee. Like look.
But look, but now if you notice, and this is what I wonder too, if they'll keep this around. The top selling comics now are the Ultimate and the Absolute. All
Yeah,
of the Absolute Wonder Woman Absolute was doing way better than the standard Wonder
the
Woman.
main timeline one.
Same thing with Superman's. Obviously, Batman's on top. I mean, Wonder Woman beat out Ultimate Spider-Man. So that's what
See,
I mean. Like all so. I think personally,
see,
Marvel and DC, I would not be surprised
you don't.
In 5 years from now, Marvel and DC maybe just forgoes continuity.
You know, how comic books are on the downswing. Was actually been on the downswing for years. Where they're not being sold in convenience stores, or if they're in the bookstores like Indigo,
Mhm.
they're usually late issues. They're not like new issues. They never get to newer issues.
Yeah,
That's how you know. Back in the day when comics were popular, convenience stores had them.
yeah.
Bookstores had them. Now, if you go to a bookstore, like Indigo, I know some Indigos have them, but I always see like, oh, this issue's for
I
like
don't think I've
three
ever
months, 4
seen an Indigo with
I have.
issues like single issues.
I have, but they're usually older issues, like 3 or 4 months old.
Right.
But convenience stores used to have them. Um,
Yeah, I don't think because they probably wouldn't people
yeah.
wouldn't buy them. They're too expensive.
Well,
And it's niche too, so I don't think that's
yeah. It used to. You just like yeah. Look, going to your comic book shop back in the day was like a hangout. It still probably kind of is for older
Mhm.
people, but there are usually other places where you could get comic books. Not anymore. You
Right.
have to go to the. You specifically have to basically go to a comic book shop. You have to find a comic book shop to get comic books. Not like trading cards. Trading cards, yeah, you could go to a comic book store for trading cards, but you could go for a Toys R Us. You could go to a card store, like Toys R Us card store. You could even go to GameStop for cards. A lot of places you could buy cards, trading cards.
Mhm.
Comic books, not so much anymore. Not anymore. But for a long time for comic books. And trading cards you could not obviously cannot get online. I mean, you could buy online, but you don't have like you can't. Comic books is different. Comic books you can read online. And but kids can't.
Mhm.
But you have to pay for that. Kids are not going to pay for. That's another thing. They may not be a comic book shop kids, but they're not going to pay $4 or $5 to read a comic book online either. That's going to be the parents.
No,
The
yeah.
parents are going to be the one paying for that. It's just kids. It's. I mean, it's not going to die because Marvel and DC are so like they have
Well,
wealthy
I think
companies
I
behind them.
think there's a high chance that DC goes under. There's an extremely high chance that DC stops making issues like issue to issue comics.
The thing is, you know
Because
what?
DC, like I keep saying this, people don't want to hear this. They plug their ears, they get mad. DC never sold as well as Marvel.
Nope.
And now that Marvel, like as much as like the MCU is popular and well known, but it never really affected the comics. But that still didn't stop Marvel from being on top. If anything, like there was
Yes.
some they got some benefit, but it was not like a
The,
significant amount.
the
You know what
problem
I
the
mean? Like,
problem the problem with DC, like Marvel, we see some characters as B this, C this. The problem with
mhm.
DC, they do a very bad job of trying to build up other characters besides like Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman.
Well, I would say they don't do a good job building up characters that isn't Batman. That's
That's
really it.
true.
I,
I mean,
I like
Superman especially.
Superman doesn't really.
This,
Yeah,
see,
yeah. Like even if the Superman movie's popular, the main Superman, the main continuity Superman, unless it's like this is the only way a main Superman will be like in the number five or like the top five spot is like the comic is insanely well uh like it's a critical darling because that's the only time certain characters will get like you'll see them all of a sudden Hulk is like selling, he's like the most sold issues that week, and it's because the run was extremely, it's like one of the highest praised runs, right? Like Immortal Hulk. If you go back and you look, Immortal Hulk was selling like crazy. Right
mm,
now, Hulk not so much because the run on Hulk is not that interesting, right? So it really depends on like if people really like what is going on. And I
yeah,
think that's why there's like niche characters who will pop up and they will sell better than popular
and
characters.
you never see people online when they want to see a Marvel or DC movie be like, before I see this movie, what comic books should I read issues to get me prepared? I'll be
Mhm.
like, you know what? You don't really have to. You
Yeah.
don't. Honestly, you don't. Like Marvel DC, they started in bankruptcy all the time for so long. I mean, Marvel doesn't have to fear bankruptcy. They got Disney.
No, they have Disney now. Yeah,
Yeah,
so they don't have
like,
to worry.
and there's no reason for Disney to sell off Marvel to anything. I mean,
No, they're only keeping Marvel because of the like Marvel Comics will never go under because one, they don't like they don't really care whether or not to print or
yeah.
to stop this stuff, right? It doesn't matter to them as much. Like it's a niche market. They can keep it going as long as they want, right? But the only reason why Marvel would want to keep it, or Disney would want to keep this around, is because they need stories for the movies. So that's the reason why they would never get rid of Marvel Comics. But DC Comics, on the other hand, I could totally see DC just being like, we're just gonna print old issues, or we're gonna do
I can see
um like graphic novels, right?
I can see James Gunn being against that, even though he doesn't really win the comics department. But like the DC studios would be like, no,
Yeah, no, I don't think he would want that because that would make his job harder, right?
yeah, it would.
Like
You
they
have
want they as much as like they're gonna do their own creative thing, they still want stories being told just so it's like, hey, if there's this popular story going on in the comic, well, we could just adapt that into a movie, right? That's what Marvel has consistently done. And if you notice too, like right now they're doing one world under Doom. I'm fairly certain some of those ideas that are in that comic that might even appear in the Avengers movies, right? And that's the reason why they're even doing that stories is just to
Mhm.
test the water and see people's reaction, right?
And here's the thing. Here's the thing. DC and Marvel, they would make comic issues for their universe, right? Their live action stuff, but nobody reads
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
Like I know for the Batman, they had a graphic novel, a prelude to the graphic novel. How many people read that?
No, yeah. I mean, they did do a Batman bundle. I'm not sure
Yeah,
if you remember that. But yeah, I don't. I mean, and they just bundled with comics that probably already people were buying, right? Um, that
yeah.
are already like well-known, established Batman comics, like Batman Year One, Batman Long Halloween. Those are always in print. Like those will never go out of print, right? Because they sell the most. But if you look and you see, like sometimes Marvel, this was another rule of thumb too, if you notice, when Marvel and DC would reprint old comics, that was usually a sign a character was going to be used potentially. I remember back in like 2018, they were reprinting Black Knight stories. Randomly, Marvel was doing this. And so everybody was like, oh, Black Knight is probably going to be in the MCU like in a couple of years. And what do you know, in a couple of years, he was in the MCU. We
Well,
never
when did they
saw him
announce
again.
Eternals?
2019. But Eternals was rumored since 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember there was a lot of rumors of Eternals. They were going to make an Eternals movie. Um, yeah,
Was
that was like a
oh,
hidden secret actually, that they were making a not a hidden, a open secret.
you may never see Black Knight in MCU again, possibly.
Yeah. Well, I think he probably will be on the Midnight Suns. That's my guess. He was
If
never
I
on the
remember too
Midnight Suns,
well.
but if he has to show up somewhere, I mean, I mean, Black Knight is an Avengers character. Like he was on the Avengers with Cersei, and they had like tons of different
Yeah, he
stories
was.
with them. But like, I don't know if they're gonna do that. It would make more sense if he's on like
Midnight
the
Suns.
Midnight Suns.
Midnight Suns may not happen for a while because if they can't get Blade off the ground, what's they do for Midnight Suns?
Yeah, I mean, Midnight Suns is gonna be like a new version of the team because Moon Knight. I mean, well, I don't think Moon Knight is even on the Midnight Suns right now. I know Iron Fist is on the Midnight Suns randomly, but and
You do get random.
Scarlet Spider.
You do end up getting random people who doesn't fit the Midnight Suns. So when you would think would fit the Midnight Suns,
I
but
mean, I think honestly, if they're gonna do a Midnight Suns, you probably do want some bigger characters, right? Like, go
yeah,
if you have Ghost Rider and Blade, that's fine. But I think you're probably gonna need
Doctor
like,
Strange from MCU would be big, be the biggest character if we could put it in there.
I don't know if they would put Doctor Strange on the Midnight Suns. I guess I was gonna say Scarlet Witch because like there's
Oh,
not like a ton of female characters. Like the only other female character I can think of that they could have is Elsa Bloodstone, and she's not even played by a well-known actress. So,
yeah, I
and
really
yeah,
wonder
that's
what's going
another.
on with that stuff. I mean, with the Werewolf by Night and Elsa.
Yeah, that's another character who knows when they're gonna appear. I guess most people don't even realize it that she was a character in the MCU.
Yeah, yeah. But look, Midnight Suns was supposedly rumored for 2026. That's not happening for 2026. Any Marvel film we saw in the production weekly is supposed to had a date for 2026. That's not Avengers Doomsday Experiment. It's not happening. Not happening.
Mhm.
That February movie is supposed to be scheduled for 2026. That's not happening. Okay?
Unless they like the only way that this stuff is happening is if they announce this stuff within the next couple of months or couple of weeks,
They
and we just
have
don't
to.
know it.
They would have to. But that 2026 movie, well, if that 2026, what if that character's in Avengers Doomsday? Can he? Wouldn't they have to film the person's scenes in Avengers Doomsday like in April to August, and then
Hmm.
whatever scenes? Because obviously not every actor is going to film April to August, right? They're going to film their scenes. Some of them could film week full scenes. Some of them could film a month or 2 or 3 months of scenes, right? Depending how much they're in the movie. Then they could go do other stuff, right?
Hmm.
They could. Like, I just don't. They would have to announce a movie really quick. I think I'm like you because I think you said this a couple streams ago. I don't think that. I think they might just do Doomsday and Secret Wars and then focus on the other movies.
That's
Inspired.
what I'm thinking. I think honestly, I think if they want the best case scenario, they should just do that. I don't see why they need to introduce other like okay, maybe Doctor Strange 3, which by the way, if you want to hear a funny joke, Grace Rano said the reason why Doctor Strange almost made $1 billion was because of Scarlet Witch. Again, I like Scarlet
No,
Witch, but
no, it's multiverse.
that's out like Grace is smoking crack when she was saying that shit. It was like
Clayface
you
is
do
incredible.
realize Doctor Strange was in a movie that just made $2 billion, right?
And
Like
so is Scarlet
literally just
Witch.
6 months ago, after before the release of Multiverse of Madness. It's like
Also,
stupid.
also the hype
Doomsday
of
is
the
getting pushed.
multiverse, the hype of the multiverse too. That also
Hmm.
did it. But
You think Doomsday is going to get pushed to 2027?
maybe because they're planning to film. Yeah, yeah, I saw that
Yeah,
Degrassi.
yeah, he posted
I
that.
saw that.
Who else would they get for Sergeant Rock, or would they not
The
even do
Rock.
Sergeant Rock? Oh
Rock.
no! If Doomsday gets pushed, when would they put it out? That's what I want to know.
Well, typically Avengers does come out if they're pushing a year. Probably the Secret Wars date because Avengers usually does come out like April, May, right? Like
Yeah,
typically.
so that's why I would say
Yeah.
wouldn't it come out in 2027?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I don't know, maybe Marvel is going to get really paranoid because of Captain America, and then they're going to go, okay, we need like a break in between. I honestly I wouldn't mind if they did a break
It has been
before the
pushed.
Avengers movies.
It has been pushed. Mackie has said that's been pushed from like April to August.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was supposed to be March, I think, but it could be pushed. Like I'm, I'm skeptical on the Avengers Doomsday. Like active search.
Okay, so they would still get Lucas Guadagnino. I can never, I'm
Yeah,
bad with
yeah,
names.
still him.
Okay,
The
I
thing is,
figured maybe he would just walk away, but
the
okay.
thing is, it's because apparently like he had cold feet. Daniel Craig's filming, right? Filming schedule now, but also said
Yeah.
like the the movie he did with the same director not well like didn't get not enough award nominations.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. Well, I mean, they just did two movies in a row, right? So,
The thing is, The thing is, Sergeant Rock is not exactly like who I would have thought would get a movie in the comic book world, whether it's DC or Marvel. Like he's not even close to my top 20 of characters that was all get a movie,
Mm,
honestly. Like
yeah.
DC. I mean, like, no disrespect. I mean, if you really think about it, you could name 20 characters that would get a most likely you would think would get a movie before Sergeant Rock in DC.
Yeah, but I think they want to do something different, right?
Yeah, I know. That's
I mean, Marvel has done Captain America, which was a war movie, but they're if they want to stay relevant in the genre, I guess. But the thing is, Sergeant Rock is also not. I mean, it's only going to be superhero related because it's DC. But Sergeant Rock is like I don't know. It's more what sci-fi kind of like horror-esque war stories.
like
They're not necessarily superhero stories.
no,
So
which is okay because
um,
like the Christian, if you do Christian, is not exactly a superhero story either. Batman, if you really think
no,
about
but
Batman, is not exactly a superhero story. Yeah, he's a guy in a cape and he does crazy
yeah,
stuff, but like James Bond is basically Batman. Okay, you really think?
yeah. I mean, it kind of depends, I guess, on
Yeah,
how you do it, right?
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, JSA included Justice Society of America. Man, really, people are getting upset about how Harrison Ford is like Trump. I'm like, some people compare to Harrison Ford to Trump. I'm like, nah. Um, oh, there are JSA members. Shazam in it? No, I'm kidding.
Did you see what's his name is regretting voting for Trump?
Who? Levi?
Uh, no, Zachary Levi.
He regrets voting for Trump.
Yeah.
What? Oh, what? You know, he probably wants to have a career
Well,
again.
he's not gonna have a career. It's pretty much over for Zachary Levi.
I thought he was a big
Remember when
RFK fan.
he was like I was gonna say Zack Snyder, James Gunn, rehire me and give me a job so I can places. Nah, your time's up, buddy. We're gonna
I
find a
thought
new Shazam.
I thought he was a big RFK fan. Robert Kennedy.
He probably is. When did people start believing that Wonder Woman never represented America? Well, I guess the chuds may have like when they were sleeping, that was like implanted into their sockets.
Well, her costume's America, American.
Yeah, I know, right?
He's like,
She has like the eagle and the stars.
well,
I
it's
mean, it's
because it's
just
because she
absolutely
stands for
stupid.
women's rights and everybody's
I don't
rights,
know.
huh? Huh?
I don't know.
And the tribes
They
still the tribes still like that.
every day you wake up and people like
Yeah.
it seems like all of a sudden there's like armies of people like one moment saying one thing and then the next they say something else. So I'll give you a new example of this. Because Captain America, Brave New World, everybody's saying, oh, it's trash or whatever. People start going back and saying, what? Why can't Marvel make the first Avengers? And you're like, wait a minute. I like the first Avengers, but everybody was saying when that like it wasn't a good movie, like it wasn't a good MCU movie.
Because she's Greek.
But all of a sudden now, people come out and they're like, "Yeah, Captain America: The First Avengers. That's what we should be getting."
So Superman should not represent American values either because he's Kryptonian.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, all of but like DC characters mostly operate in. Wait a minute, hold on. I just hold on, wait. It just dawned on me. Isn't it called the Justice League of America?
JSA is, but not
No,
JSA.
no. The original, hold on.
That's a good one. That's a good question. They're called Super Friends.
Yeah,
Also.
the classic Justice League of America.
Super
It's
Friends.
the Silver Age. It has the Silver Age, Flash, Wonder Woman, Aquaman.
uh,
Superman, Batman, Greenland. Yeah, it literally yeah. We're not talking about the JSA in terms of what we know
So
now. Like the way it was in the Silver Age, it was Justice League of America with Superman, Batman, and like the
Justice
classic Justice
Society.
League.
Yeah, Justice Society of America, Justice League of America. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, yeah. JSA. Yeah, sorry. JSA yeah. Um, the
That's
Justice
still
Society of America, and then there's the Justice League JLA, which is Justice League of America. Yeah, it's not just Justice League. That's like
um
even the Grant Morrison was JLA, Justice League of America.
I but I think the Justice League, the DC is trying to get away from the JLA because I think the Justice League they don't like to get involved with politics. They don't.
Yeah, when I do wonder, was that in the 2000s? Did they drop the JSA?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because I know Batman doesn't like getting involved with politics. If they got involved with politics, working with the government, Batman would not be in the JS
Yeah,
Justice League.
because think about it,
I
right?
know him.
Because they had the
That's why.
Justice League
That's why.
International.
That's why Batman would never be an Avenger. He would never be an Avenger because of that reasoning. He wouldn't trust the government.
Yeah, there's another Justice League groups that are yeah, the A is always stands for America,
International,
right?
yeah, that's is it. International is the one Maxwell Lord starts up, right? Like in the comics.
Yeah, because the Justice League of America, they have
Yeah.
Martian Man. What Martian was Martian Manhunter on it? I know Animal Man was on there, of course, because I like Animal
Power
Man.
Girl was JSA, I think.
Um,
Um,
Doctor Fate,
Black
Shazam,
Adam
yeah,
was
Martian.
wasn't Black Adam JSA?
No, that's Justice Society.
Justice,
That's JSA.
yeah, JSA, Justice Society of
Yeah,
America.
not
Oh,
Justice, not
not the American one.
no, not JSA, not JLA, and not
How
JLAI.
many fucking Justice Leagues are there? Come on.
There's a lot. There is a lot. There's also I'm trying to blank. This was in the New 52, I believe. There was the Canadian Justice League. Does anybody know what they were called? I forget.
Oh yeah, I forget too.
Oh, Justice League United. That's what they were called. Justice League
Yeah,
United.
United. Yeah, I remember. I read that. I'm like, oh, Starman Stark.
Yeah, Justice League United, which is kind of a weird
I'm
for
sorry. There's too many Justice League groups, like factions. It seems like
yeah. Our man, yeah, our man, Doctor Midnight is kind of weird. He's a weird ass character. Yeah,
what's
Justice League
next?
Europe. Yeah, I mean, so I mean, we got to document this when they start saying the DC characters don't represent America or some bullshit like that. Because I'm like, yeah, because most people now will like just say Justice League. No one
Yeah,
says Justice League of America.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's been kind of like retroactively changed where it's almost like, yeah, you kind of forget that it's called Justice League of America. Because the modern use of it, the movies, the animated show. I mean, the animated show is called Justice League.
And then
Wait,
Justice League
Justice League
Unlimited,
Unlimited.
which is not really. It's just Unlimited is not really. It's still the
Yeah, and
Justice League.
the current Justice League is the current Justice League that they just rebooted, which I want to read because I like the artist. It's called Justice League
Firelight.
Unlimited, and
I'm pretty
it actually
sure.
has some new people, like people who are not really.
I'm,
I mean, they're on the Justice League, but they're not typically associated with the main team. You know what
I'm
I mean?
pretty sure Justice League International is the one Maxwell Lord makes.
Yeah.
Great.
Justice League International had Ted. Yeah, it had Ted Cord and Guy Gardner and Ice. Yeah, Ice was on there.
What if? What if Superman? It's the BBC Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, Mr. Triff. What if
Hmm.
they're? What if they are Justice League? Some sort of Justice League that works for Maxwell Lord or something.
The say that again. The Justice League, like the main line
Not the main
Justice League.
Justice League, a different Justice League. Like
Yeah,
JSA is
I think that's gonna be what's in the show or
okay.
show movie.
The movie. Not like the Justice League because I have a feeling the Justice League is already assembled with Batman, Superman. I just think it's gonna be like because there's different Justice Leagues.
Yeah,
Superman is
I
cool.
mean, I do wonder what they would do. Like, is it going to be like has there maybe I don't know what they're going to do because I was going to say maybe they have a Justice League that was already established, and this is just like the Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. They're like the modern incarnation of the Justice League.
Oh, Trinity. I want to do
I
a
don't
world
know,
finest
but yeah,
movie, Batman Superman movie, and don't make them fight each other,
yeah.
please. Get the
No, I think they will. I think they will. They will
if
do it.
Superman is good, really really good, and if the oh no Batman doesn't count. That's a different universe. But if Batman Superman if they was really good,
Hmm.
you could easily make Marvel really look bad, successfully.
Yeah.
BVS had that chance, but look who's
Well, if
behind it.
all if DC has like if Superman's good,
Yeah,
Supergirl's good, Peacemaker,
Clayface,
Lanterns,
Clayface. I
yeah,
mean no,
then I mean that the narrative will build that DC is better than Marvel, just like that.
Marvel feared BVS. Okay, just because look, there's only one character in Marvel that can compete with Superman. Well, really Batman, and that's here's the thing. Here's the thing, blinded. Marvel, look, when BVS was announced, Marvel was not scared of Superman, okay? They were not really threatened by Superman. They were actually threatened by Batman being in it. Let's be honest.
Mm,
It's Batman, right? Because it's only 4 years after the Dark Knight trilogy, even though, look, I did not like the Dark Knight Rises, so I don't think it was a good movie. The critics score and Rotten Tomato score is actually, audience score is actually pretty good, but it's still Batman. I'm going to say this. It wasn't really Superman that they were afraid of Marvel. They were afraid of Batman being in that movie. That's what they were afraid
mm,
of. Batman. Because and the only way to compete with Batman was probably put Spider-Man in it. Even the Avengers movie, that Avengers movie, right? They had an Avengers movie, but they're still scared of one single character. In my opinion only. You could agree with me, right? And that's Batman. That's how big of an impact Batman is. How
hmm.
popular Batman is. It's
Yeah,
not
for sure.
Superman. Look. Zack Snyder. Like some people blame Zack Snyder for the reputation of Superman. But the New 52 did not help either.
Yeah.
The New 52 didn't hurt Batman. Okay, it did not hurt Batman, but it did hurt the rep of Superman. It did not like the new direction Superman was going to New 52. Batman wasn't hurt by the New 52. Because he was actually the only hero that had some of the best stories from the New 52, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean Batman usually is always
yeah,
pretty good.
yeah. Look,
Like right now I think it's in the like there's some I'm hold on, I have like a controversial statement here. But
okay, say it.
I think people who write Daredevil, they're not good Batman writers.
Oh, they try to make him like.
Okay,
Oh, they
and the
try to.
only the and I'm going to ignore Batman Year One. I'm gonna just pretend that doesn't exist because I feel like there's this weird trend where someone is like they write Daredevil and then they go write Batman and then it's like their Batman is just not good. And Chip Zdarsky, I don't know what happened, but like his Batman run was not good. It just was not. It started off cool and then it started getting into like the weird territory, and you're like, this ain't it. This ain't it. So yeah, I don't know what happened there.
I lost connection for a second. I'm back. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry. All right, what were you saying? I didn't hear
I
you,
was
brother.
saying Chip Zdarsky's Batman run wasn't very good.
Yeah.
And it ended like way too soon too. It kind of just like came and went.
And my point about Batman, you talk about every director that wants to wants to do a comic book movie. They always talk about Batman, want to do Batman, want to do Batman. And yes,
Mhm.
Mike Flanagan, that's to say, he doesn't want. It's not his script is not being a Batman movie, but it's still Batman related.
Yeah.
Like really, right? Like you don't hear the other directors talk about. You know what? I want to do a Flash movie. I want to do a Green Lantern movie. I just want. You know what?
No.
I want to do a Batman movie. They all talk about doing Batman. They all
Well, I
talk.
think because Batman is just a cooler character.
Yeah,
He's a more popular character. I think a lot of people
I think it's easier to. I
find
mean,
him.
I think it's easier to write. It's more. It's not as
Yeah,
goofy.
little. That is true. That is true,
Because
Degrassi. But Michael Bendis, he did write Batman. There was that time where it was like like basically like the Batman and
I'm.
Superman writers switched. So Tom King wrote Superman and then Bendis wrote Batman.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
And yeah, I mean,
It
I
makes
don't know. That
sense.
one was kind of forgettable. The
But
I don't
Batman has
remember
to
what it
be
was called,
Clayface,
but
right? But Batman has to be Clayface. This makes sense.
Batman, yeah, I think
You,
most likely.
you can't have the cops capture Clayface at the end and put Markham. It's just that's stupid. Nobody wants to see that. I'm sorry. Nobody wants to see that, right? No,
Yeah.
no Batman fan wants to see that. No hardcore comic book fan, no hardcore Batman fan wants to see, and no general audience fans wants to see that. They want to see Batman be the one.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we'll see. I'm because okay, the one thing I'm a little bit like kind of wary about Clayface is the fact that like was that a rumored synopsis or was that an official synopsis?
Well, it's
I
a
don't.
B actor trying to
Yeah,
stay
because it
relevant.
was like, well, it was like, okay, well, I mean yes, it's Clayface, but at the same time, I'm like, but this is like the substance. Like this sounds like too close to the substance. Like I thought it would have been a little bit different. Like I thought it was going to be maybe kind of closer to what we got with Clayface and the Cape Crusader, like mixing different versions of the character. So I mean, they kind of are mixing versions of the character, of course, but I thought it would have. I don't know. I thought it would have not been. I don't know. It just reads like the substance. You're like, this sounds like the substance.
Yeah,
Like it's just a male version of
I
the
mean,
substance. Like, is that
I mean, there. It's not. It has been done. It's been done. I mean, well, the Clayface in the movie in the TV show was not actually Bissell Carlo. He wasn't doing it
Mhm.
to stay relevant. He got his face got badly damaged during a scene, and he used
right?
cream. Right. That's a little different from here. So
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, like I was saying, Clayface. There's so many different versions of
yeah, I
Clayface
guess it's
that
kind.
I
I get.
thought they would have done something to differentiate it from
I
the
think
substance.
maybe it's a little similar to maybe the story is a little similar to the episode 2 of the Cape Crusader with that Mr. Carl trying to stay relevant because
Hmm.
he always plays the same roles and he's always been only he says he's ugly and all that and so he always get
Right.
his face is the reason he always gets the same typecast and the same kind of roles. I guess it's a little similar to this, but instead in this version because we kind of seen it already in the cartoon and the cartoon is
Hmm.
canon to the live action. It's going to be more of the classic, not the classic Clayface, but the Clayface that transforms, that shapeshifts. So maybe they're kind of combining the both versions.
Hmm.
Maybe that's what they're trying to do, which is I think is fine.
Maybe we'll see. I was just kind of like, yeah, because that synopsis came out and I read it and I'm like, wait, isn't this just the substance? Like this
Yeah,
seems a little and I mean the thing is like, yeah, like Clayface is like the substance, but I mean it's just kind of like, well, I mean the substance is out right now, right? It's like people are talking about it. So it's like, oh, and now it has Oscar buzz. So it's like, let's, which I don't think they did this, right? But I mean, it does seem like, hey, let's just make a male version of the substance, even
hmm
though that is Clayface. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, there's so many different versions of Clayface where it's like you could have gone in all different types of directions. Obviously, you're still going to keep the clay monster aspect, but
yeah,
yeah, I mean, there's like I said, there's like Clayface 3. I don't remember his name, but he has like this suit that he wears.
Yeah, the
But
most well known is Sil Carlo and Matt Hagen, or whatever
yeah,
his name is. Those are two most well known, but there's a bunch of them. There's
yeah,
a bunch of them. Well, actually, we went longer than usual, blinded 12
yeah.
10. Thank you for coming on. It was a good stream.
No problem.
I know you may not be on tomorrow because you're busy.
Well, I
So,
do end at 8, but I do gotta
yeah.
finish some work, I guess. But
All right. Yeah, yeah. He is busy because he's doing he's doing election
working the
stuff.
elections.
We got a provincial election. That's basically like a state election for the Americans.
Yeah.
Okay, that's next week. The voting happens, but he's doing advanced polling, helping with
Mhm.
advanced polling.
Yeah, and
Uh,
then next Thursday, then I do the regular polling as well.
yeah, yeah. So I already got my card right for. I already got my card for proof that I could vote.
Mm,
Right. So I don't have to
nice.
worry about that. But vote me, guys. I'm kidding.
Mm,
I'll be a good premier.
better
Oh.
than Doug Ford, I guess.
Vote me for governor of the 51st state of Canada in the future, guys.
Mm,
When the U.S. takes over Canada, vote me for the 51st for the governor of Canada. All right. Oh, there's blinded.